trouble melts like lemon drops high above the chimney top. That's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, and the dream that you dare to, oh why can't well, I see trees of green and red roses too. I watch them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Well, I see skies of blue and I see clouds of white and the brightness of day. I like the dark and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands singing, how do you do? They really say, I love you. I hear babies cry and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where trouble melts like a lemon drops high above the chimney top. That's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. And the dreams that you dare to, why, oh why can't
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dave Foley, and I have been honored to be asked to be the celebrant for our service here and later at the graveside by Daniel. And I count it a rare privilege indeed. I would like to just make a couple of announcements to make sure that you are all aware that following the service, when we exit from this room, we will be going immediately to the cemetery. If you would move to your cars and be prepared, if you're planning to join the procession out to the cemetery, we will be leaving from the doors to my left and to your right. That's where the garage door will open, and just follow behind the coach, please, with another reminder that we must follow the traffic laws. We will wait for everyone to gather at the gates of the cemetery. Because of the constraints of COVID-19, we're not able to gather in the number that one would be absolutely certain would be here in this room today. I'm so glad that we're able to share our celebration today with those who are online right now and those who will view the ceremony at a later date. Thank you all for being here to show your support. We come here today with full hearts. Actually, for most of us, our hearts are beyond full. And it's as it were, as if what is being poured into us is just overflowing. Our minds are numb in some ways. There are no words to express the unbelievable sadness for this life that is gone too soon. The only way to survive such an onslaught of the incomprehensible is to know that an even bigger halo of love, support, and understanding and memories is circling the wall of grief and will sustain you and buffer you from being engulfed. We come to stand with Carrie's family, especially her husband Daniel and her two sons, the sum total of her inner world. Brady, Hunter, we love you, and we are going to make sure we are there when you need us. We come to bear witness to your loss and your grief. The unspeakable became the unthinkable on April 21st, and now you have holes in your lives because Mom, Carrie, is gone. We say to you that we are willing companions on your journey of grief and pledge to be there when the travels and travails become too much. Each one of you has touched Carrie's life and been touched by her life in your own special way. And you're here to bear witness to that positive, beautiful impact that she had. Your presence today helps all of us to begin the process of turning tears into memories. I read once, and I'm sorry I cannot tell you the author, but someone said, tears are simply memories in motion. What a support to know that the tears are not meaningless. They are full, absolutely full of meaning. While we're here today, we will think, we'll feel, we'll speak, we will see pictures and hear music and words, but in and through it all, we will find something important, many things important, of this person, Carrie Therrien. When we come to a place and a time like this, very often ourselves, both physical and our spirits, become absolutely roiled in emotion. And sometimes it's hard for us to focus and to remember that we are here for a purpose. I'm going to ask you to focus with me as I read something written by a man, Paul Therrien, who wrote many things about this stage of our lives. He says this: a death has occurred and everything is changed by the event. We are painfully aware that life can never be the same again, that yesterday is over, that relationships once rich have ended. But there is another way to look upon this truth. If life went on the same without the presence of the one, Carrie, who has died, we could only conclude that the life we remember made no contribution, filled no space, meant nothing. The fact that Carrie left behind a place that cannot be filled is a high tribute to her. Life can be the same after a trinket has been lost, but never after the loss of a treasure. I wish we had the time for every single one of you to answer this question. What is the best thing that you know about Carrie? Sadly, we can't. But those who have been the closest to Carrie through her life can share that with us. We're going to hear a couple of them now. First of all, Erin Fisher Reader, Carrie's sister, has prepared her thoughts and memories. And nephew Colton Crine is going to read for us what she has written. Would you like to come forward, please?
Hi, everyone. I'm going to be reading the eulogy that Aaron and Tracy wrote, Carrie's sisters on, So, on behalf of our family, I would like to begin by thanking everyone, both online and in person, for being here today to celebrate Carrie's life and share your condolences. This last week, we've received countless phone calls, emails, texts, flowers, meals, visits, thoughts, and prayers. These have served to comfort us during this difficult time and remind us truly of how loved and cherished Carrie was by so many others. At the beginning of this pandemic, we never could have imagined that COVID would take Carrie away from us so fast and so abruptly. Being concerned for all our family, especially my grandparents, Aaron and Tracy's parents, in their senior years, we were all very careful to protect each other. For that reason, it feels like we were robbed of many enjoyable family moments over the last year. I think this is one thing that has been gnawing at us the most. The moments and memories that could have been made with Carrie, Dan, Brady, and Hunter. Yet, despite this short time that we missed out on, the many fantastic decades we've spent with Carrie stick out in our minds today the most. It's been a blessing to have Carrie a part of our lives and continue strong in our memories. Carrie was never short of friends, and that's because of how loving of a person she was. Kind-hearted to everyone she met, Carrie made people feel at ease and never judged. She was always fun and easy to be around. Even though Carrie lived away from most of her family and many friends in Medicine Hat most of her adult life, she was never out of touch with them. Carrie would always be the first to touch base and make constant visits, where we would get to see her smile and good-hearted nature almost every holiday and every summer, through the good times and the bad times. Carrie also had this amazing way of always seeing the best in others. Even when someone wronged her, she could never hold a grudge and always found a way to forgive and understand. Aaron and Tracy can recall a time when Carrie was living in Calgary and one of her friends ended up stealing her car, driving it out of the province and just leaving it there. From their end, they were so upset for Carrie. But when they talked to Carrie, she just shrugged and said, "Oh well, he obviously needed it and must have been in a bad place." That was just how Carrie was. She always seemed to take everything in stride and never stressed the little things. Instead, Carrie had a carefree nature. She was relaxed, easygoing, and always up for anything. Now, if you ask my grandparents, Aaron and Tracy's parents, they might say this quality had a way of getting Carrie into some trouble over the years. When Carrie was a young adult, my grandparents had a police officer arrive at their door in Medicine Hat regarding unpaid parking tickets that Carrie had accumulated while living in Calgary. Carrie still had her permanent address as Marion and Richards. Supposedly, she had accumulated quite a few. When they questioned her about them, she again shrugged and explained she had just stuck them in her glove compartment in her car and forgot about them. Another time, Carrie's friends showed up at Marion and Richard's door to take her east with them. Her parents knew nothing about it until that very day. I also don't think the trip was really planned out, just something they kind of decided to do on a whim. They planned to drive all the way to Nova Scotia, but we don't believe they made it quite that far. Trouble or not, though, no doubt, this carefree nature took Carrie on many memorable adventures, to new places, and down many different career paths. If Carrie didn't have room for carrying stress, that's because she was too busy carrying around her strong will and her independence. Her uncle Frank told Aaron and Tracy, Tracy's parents at the time, that she was working at the racetrack and ended up getting her foot crushed by a horse. Carrie, determined, continued to work the rest of the day and didn't complain once about it. By the end of the day, her Uncle Frank found her with an extremely beaten up foot, which he was astonished she had continued working with all day. Carrie also accomplished many difficult runs throughout the years. With barely any time to prepare for, we were all amazed when she was able to finish the Queen City Marathon in Regina in 2012 and a triathlon in 2013. Last year, after Dan had to leave camping early, Carrie was faced with dumping the waste tank and hauling the trailer back, even though she had never done it before. Nevertheless, as usual, Carrie wasn't slightly fazed by this prospect. I can continue to think of countless and numerous stories of Carrie like this, but some of the most powerful come from her career. Working with both adults and kids with disabilities, Carrie had a demanding and challenging job. A job that most people would have trouble sticking out. Carrie was the perfect person for it because she could stick it out. And she not only stuck it out, but she brought along a love and passion to the others that she worked with day in and day out. This was Carrie. She was tough, and she could push through every challenging aspect she faced in life. And of all Carrie's wonderful qualities, none seemed to rival the caring and dedicated mother she was to her two boys, Brady and Hunter. Her children meant everything to her, and she was always there for them. While camping, one memory that sticks out in Aaron and Tracy's mind is Brady, Hunter, and their dog Shiloh following Carrie to the bathroom, waiting for her outside the door and peeking under it. Even going to the bathroom, Carrie could not have time alone, as her kids and dog adored her. Ironically, Carrie used to do the same. She would follow Grandpa Bearby to the house while spending time with her grandparents on the Bearby Ranch, one of her favorite places. My grandparents, Aaron and Tracy's parents, always tell us how Carrie came a month early. Even as a baby, she couldn't wait to get into this world and make the most of it. How Carrie lived her life is how we should all aim to live our lives. Always up for anything, never taking anything for granted, and loving fiercely. When Aaron graduated from university, Carrie gave her this book called The Language of Courage and Inner Strength. In it, she wrote, "Congratulations, Aaron, on your special day. If things ever get tough, just open this book for words of wisdom." Opening this book up again after many years, Aaron found a passage that read, "Our hearts mourn when a loved one departs, but with courage, we learn to accept their absence in our lives. In gratitude, we appreciate the time that was given, and with love, the memories are not forsaken." With these words in mind, I hope we all find the courage we need during this difficult time and take away some of the wisdom in which Carrie lived her life. Carrie, we love you more than words can describe. You will be missed forever, and we'll always treasure the memories that you left with us. Thank you.
Well done and well said. I have to confess something to you. Shortly before, in a few moments before we came into the chapel today, somebody casually said to me, "There's a lot of teachers in this group." And teachers scare the heck out of me. So, because of that, I'm going to ask you to indulge me. Forgive my grammatical errors and just give me your support. But I also want to ask you in these next few moments to give your full attention and support to Daniel as he comes to share what he has to tell us about his wife and the mother of Brady and Hunter. Be ready to laugh when he tells funny stories. Be ready to send your loving thoughts to give him courage as he comes to speak to us. Daniel.
First of all, I'd like to thank Aaron, Tracy, Colton for the very kind words you had to say about Carrie. And I'm very happy you're able to tell some of the stories about Carrie's younger life. Second of all, I'd like to thank all the friends and family and strangers that have reached out to my family and everyone just to give your support and love and offer help or just kind words to say. Carrie would have been truly blessed to know how many people out there truly care for her and love her. So I wanted to tell the story of the first time I heard of Carrie. I remember sitting at my business partner's Dave's house in Calgary, and he was telling me about somebody who was friends with his wife, and they had been friends since childhood. She said she had no landscape experience, but was a good worker, and was looking for a job. So I paused in my head, and I was thinking, am I going to hire somebody with no experience, or should we bring her in? And I thought, well, you know what, Dave? I said, let's hire her. And if things don't work out, well, we can always find somebody else. About 20 amazing years later, hiring Carrie turned out to be the best decision I ever made. As soon as Carrie and I began working together, there was an instant connection. We would just sit and talk for hours. And I remember we began first dating after our first camping trip, one of which many camping trips we took throughout our lives. Carrie always loved keeping active. And every evening we'd spend our nights playing tennis or golfing, rollerblading, hiking, skiing, or just simply going for long walks. After about a year of working with me, Carrie decided to change her career paths. I don't blame her. I have a tendency to be very difficult to work for. She found a job in the line of work she was born to do. Carrie began working for a company called New Directions. There she worked with people with intellectual difficulties. Her job was to find them careers outside of the realm of what society thought they were capable of doing. Carrie believed that they deserved the same opportunity in life and should be treated equally as everyone else. Carrie had the ability to build an instant bond and bring a smile to every client she ever worked with. She also had the ability to take the most difficult clients nobody can handle and be able to connect with them like nobody else could. In 2005, Carrie and I went through what we thought was going to be the most difficult part of our lives. It all started that summer when Carrie had a miscarriage, which was devastating to her because Carrie looked forward to nothing more than to become a mother. 2 months after that, my father had tragically passed away of a brain aneurysm. And 2.5 months after that, I was in the hospital getting a brain tumor removed. Through it all, Carrie was my rock. And with that, we both changed the way we looked at life. And we always had the philosophy of don't sweat the little things. And at the end of the day, to cherish life and to make sure to take the time to spend it with the ones you love. In 2006, Carrie and I were married at St. Barnabas Church in Medicine Hat. The church had a special meaning to Carrie because it was where Carrie's grandparents, Ava and Riot, were married. And we also got married and they were also married on May 27th also. Sorry, Aaron. We know it's your birthday. Same day as your birthday. That summer, we decided to move to Calgary. We moved away from Calgary and decided to move to the fast-paced metropolis, which is known as Moose Jaw, where we built the rest of our lives together. And when we got here, Carrie started working at the YMCA daycare, where she found her second passion, and that was working with children. On March 5th, 2008, Carrie gave birth to our oldest son, Brady. I remember the first trip we took with Brady, and that was at Aaron and Jordan's wedding. I remember the joy and pride that she had in Brady, and that everyone would come up to her and ask if they could hold and play with Brady. He always had a smile on his face, just like his mom. On March 30th, 2010, our family was complete with the birth of our second son, Hunter. Shortly after Hunter's birth, we had to take him to the hospital because he was having problems with his kidneys. They immediately began working at him. Through that, Carrie refused to leave his side. A A few days later, Brady also got sick, and he ended up in the hospital. So now we had 2 children in the hospital. Again, Carrie refused to leave their sides. Shortly after, Hunter was transferred to Regina, and Brady was still in Moose Jaw. And eventually, both kids ended up in Regina, but through it all, Carrie never left Hunter's side. The one decision Carrie made was when the kids were younger and unable to go to school, she decided to stay home and raise them. She always said this was the happiest time of her life. Because of that, she raised 2 incredible, thoughtful, caring, respectful boys who we are both extremely proud of. Once the kids went to school full-time, Carrie began working as an educational assistant, where she was able to combine her 2 aspects of her career which she loved the most, which was working with kids and people with disabilities. For the past 2 years, she has been working full-time at King George, and she especially enjoyed working with Tyler. Carrie truly enjoyed the time she got to spend with her family. And the one time a year that Carrie really enjoyed was Christmas. I remember as soon as November hit, Carrie would be putting up her tree, setting up all the decorations. And then come mid-January, I'd be always bugging her to take them down, because if it was up to her, she would have left it up till June. Carrie truly enjoyed the time she got to spend with her family camping in Alberta. That was some of the best memories that she and the boys and myself made. I remember her always bugging me to get a trailer. And so 3 years ago, we decided to take a camping trip with Alan and Chantal's family. Well, we ended up getting stuck in a tornado with basically a river running through the middle of our tent. Needless to say, the following year we decided to get a trailer. However, our second night of camping in our new trailer that Carrie was so proud of, we also got stuck in a tornado, which destroyed our trailer. But on the plus side, it was better than being stuck in a tent. Some of the fondest memories Carrie had over the past few years was skiing and camping with her family. Carrie was always first to offer to take in all the nieces and nephews because she truly loved the sounds of kids screaming and having fun. In closing, Carrie will always be remembered for having a smile on her face and not having a mean bone in her body. She brought joy and laughter to everyone she came in contact with. And she always saw the goodness in people. But most of all, Carrie will be remembered as a devoted mother who did everything for her 2 sons, Brady and Hunter. No words can express the pride and joy she felt and how much she loved you both. I want to take the time to read a letter that Brady and Hunter wrote together for their mom. My mom was an incredible person who put others before herself. She loved horses, but sadly one kicked out her 2 front teeth. And even though she had 2 front teeth, she had one of the best smiles ever. I wish I could see her smile one more time. I remember camping with family. I remember going to Banff and climbing the mountain to the tea house. I like how she cooked taco in the bag and she made the best roast and mashed potatoes. What I'm going to miss is how she helped me with stuff like making us school lunches, cooking supper, and watching movies with her. Camping and skiing was so much fun, but the funnest thing we had was to spend time with my mom. And we are happy we got to spend our last birthdays together before she went in the hospital. I am really sad I only got to spend 11 and 13 years with her. I love you so much.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Brady. Thank you, Hunter, for what you said and how you said it. There was one phrase that you used, Daniel, that I just want to remind us all of. You'd give anything for that, to see that smile one more time. And I charge all of you with this. In order for that to happen for her boys, you need to talk about Carrie. You need to let flow whatever emotions that may elicit. You need to help Daniel, Brady, and Hunter see and remember the smile and the love that was their mom. Next month, Daniel, you'll mark the end of what would be the 15th year of your marriage. It's our prayer that for you, in your innermost being, you will rejoice in what you were given for these 14 years. Carrie believed that every person, every human being deserved a place of full participation in the circle of life, and she worked hard to make that happen. We can keep her alive by our efforts for human and social justice. Words elicit so much from us. But as has been said, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Let's watch these pictures and let our hearts respond. Matt Strawson is going to play the guitar while we view the pictures. Thank you, Matt. Thank you for sharing so completely of her life. Watch those pictures often. Let them become solid in your heart. We're almost at the time when we will leave this place to take Carrie to her final resting place here on earth. Before we go, I'd like to share with you a reading that Dan picked out for us. It's entitled, "For Those I Love, for Those Who Love Me." And I would just make a comment here. The tense of the verb is correct. It is not past, it is present. When I am gone, release me. Let me go. I have so many things to see and do. You mustn't tie yourself to me with tears. Be happy that we had so many years. I gave you my love. You can only guess how much you gave to me in happiness. I thank you for the love you all have shown, but now it's time I travel on alone. So, grieve a while for me, if grieve you must, then let your grief be comforted by trust. It's only for a while that we must part. So bless the memories within your heart. I won't be far away, for life goes on. So if you need me, call and I will come. Though you can't see or touch me, I'll be near, and if you listen with your heart, you'll hear all of my love around you, soft and clear. Let me speak a blessing on Carrie and then a blessing on you as we dismiss from this place. If you're willing, I would ask you to bow your heads and your hearts. Carrie, you are a true inspiration to all of us in the ways that you chose to live your life. Your energy, commitment to your family, your ways of living out your vocation have all caused us today to consider our own contributions to the lives of others. We promise that we will help Daniel and your sons, Brady and Hunter, to begin the processes of their lives without you immediately present. God, we are ever grateful that you have given us this time with Carrie. You know how much we must struggle to let her go, so we lift her into your presence and your care, knowing that right now she is experiencing the joy of being with you and the freedom from all limitations. Please give her real joy in this new life she has with you. And for all of us, may God give you the grace and grit to keep walking, one foot in front of the other, no matter how impossible the mountain feels to climb. May he lead you by streams of living water, refresh your weary soul, and give you just what you need at every twist and turn. May he take your burdens and give you a new song to sing. May he renew your faith to believe that fresh blessings await you just around the bend. And tomorrow, when the sun comes up, may his new morning mercies feel as miraculous as they are. Go in peace. Amen.
If I die young, bury me in satin, lay me down on a bed of roses, sink me in the river at dawn, send me away with the words of a love song. Oh, oh, oh. Lord, make me a rainbow, I'll shine down on my mother. She'll know I'm safe with you when she stands under my colors. Oh, and life ain't always what you think it ought to be. No, ain't even gray, but she buries her baby. The sharp knife of a short life. Well, I've had just enough time. If I die young, bury me in satin, lay me down on a bed of roses, sink me in the river at dawn, send me away with the words of a love song. The sharp knife of a short life. Well, I've had just enough time, and I'll be wearing white when I come into your kingdom. I'm as green as the ring on my little cold finger. I've never known the loving of a man, but it sure felt nice when he was holding my hand. There's a boy here in town says you'll love me forever. Who would have thought forever could be severed by the sharp knife of a short life? Well, I've had just enough time. So put on your best boys and I'll wear my pearls. What I never did is done. A penny for my thoughts, oh no, I'll sell them for $1. They're worth so much more after I'm a goner, and maybe then you'll hear the words I've been singing. Funny when you're dead, how people start listening. If I